Hello and welcome to another episode of the Everything is Roses podcast. I'm Rafid Mahmoud, joined as always by
Paula Kumans.
Yes, and today's a special episode because it's another guest episode. Today we have with us Skander Sassy. So Skander, why don't you introduce yourself for the audience here?
As you said, I'm Skander Sassy. I'm also in the same university as these two fellow men, amazing friends I've had for years now.
Thank you.
And I'm majoring in mathematics and international finance. And today I'm here to talk about the hobbies and the hustles I've been into.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get into the topic. Let's start off with what is one thing that maybe kind of defines you? I know there's a lot of things, but can you choose one for now?
Adaptability.
Adaptability. Interesting.
In what way would you say you're adaptable?
A lot of situations I face on the daily are like sometimes unattended, and I have to adapt to them, and I've shown a strength in that. All the experiences I've had, like internships, my family around me, my friends have told me that I've always been adaptable to that stuff, and they think that's one of my good points.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good quality to have. And with your background too, like I think you lived in the Middle East initially, or like you went to Dubai from Tunisia, which is where you grew up. So you probably had to be very adaptable in that sense.
Yeah, sorry to cut you.
No,
I was born in Tunisia initially. I lived there for like a month or two before completely moving to Dubai, where like I had 11 years of my childhood there. Then moved to France, where I did collège and lycée for school.
Yeah.
So totally immersed into the French system, which was kind of different from the international school I was in, and I had to kind of adapt to that. The culture, the people were treating me super differently from Dubai. Also, Dubai is a really safe country, so like I could just roam around. My parents wouldn't care. But in Paris, when I first came in, like they were super worried. They were super panicked.
Yeah.
And I would describe the same about me. I was also really scared of other people. And
Yeah, it's a very big change in environment going from Dubai, which is like predominantly Muslim and Middle Eastern culture, and then going to France, which is like entirely European and Western. So I can imagine that would have been a very big change.
Right. So what is kind of like the biggest thing you've got from that transition? Was it a difficulty, or did it actually be a benefit for you?
Well, it always starts as a difficulty to adapt to that kind of stuff, where like you have to move around and you're like, oh, I'm gonna miss all my friends, and I've like spent 11 years of my life here. Like 11 years knowing friends is hard, and some of them today I don't even talk to anymore, and I still like kind of have a thought about them, like a nice memory about them, like, oh, I could have stayed and talked, and what if I just stayed in Dubai? But yeah, you go forwards, you learn. I think France was a very good learning experience for me. It totally changed the person I was. Personality wise, I would like really watch out of how I would act with people. Because in Dubai I would just like always act nice and always be kind, because they were always like that. They were always respect that. Yeah. But in France, as soon as you kind of show that part of you, people will just abuse it, and it's hard. Like it's hard when you're a kid and you're like, oh, I don't know why people are treating me like this. Are they really my friends? You get a lot of thoughts like that, and at that point, I just stopped talking to a lot of people, and I made the good friends I have today.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get that, because for me it was the exact same way. Like I initially grew up in Pakistan for like 4 years, and then I moved to the UK. And I studied there from like the ages of 5 years to 8 years old. And that was like a really nice time. I really immersed myself in British culture very well. And I was having a very good time making friends, doing all that. And then I had to move back to Pakistan like immediately without like warning. And that completely messed me up. Like as you said, people treat you differently in that new environment, because it's such a drastic change. So I had to do the same as you. Like I had no friends at all in the beginning, because I couldn't speak with anyone or converse with anyone. So yeah, it's definitely a big change going from one place in the world to another place. Right. I'm sure it's been the same for you coming from New York to France as well.
Yeah, I mean, for all of my life, I've just lived in the same house, the same country. So I didn't really have any of that exposure as a child, but coming to AUP is definitely that experience. But I think the great thing about this university is that everyone is coming from somewhere else. And so everyone is on the same page.
Yeah.
and you're not really going to find that bias necessarily because everyone is going through this kind of not being familiar with where you are, what environment you're in. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know about you if you.
Yeah,
feel that
you're all
way.
kind of foreigners in
Right.
a foreign country.
I totally agree with that. Like, I went from, like I said, international school, French, English.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to fully French system.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm back into, like, a more English American system. And it's really different because I was immersed, like, people were just French, like, all Europeans.
Yeah.
I don't think I've met any Americans or, like, any people from, like, foreign countries that much in French high school.
Mm-hmm.
But in AUP, like, the amount of people I've met are, like, from like so different countries.
Yeah.
Like, one of my closest friends is Saudi. One, like, Rafid himself is Pakistani.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so very different people, very different cultures merge kind of together, and I feel like the university is doing a great job with that because we have, like, the liberty of creating clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I think our university is really good at making, like, this mix of cultures
Mm-hmm.
work together. As we have multiple clubs we could create, we
Yeah.
have the freedom to just
Do
create
whatever.
them and, like, have events scheduled. We could reserve places at uni, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very good
Yeah.
because I know that some universities in France don't specially have that, like Sorbonne, for example, where my friends are studying at right now, and
Right.
Me too.
Rafid is.
Mhm.
Well, you're more in the private section. They're more in
Yeah.
the public section.
I'm like in a language school that's made by the university, but they don't have any connection anymore. They used to, but now they don't.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the
Yeah.
public section is legit just events for outsiders, not really for the students.
In
Mm.
Sorbonne?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so, like,
Interesting.
last time I went, we went together,
Yeah.
and we got in easily, right? We, like, there was nothing. There was
Yeah,
just, like,
they
a
just check your
sign.
bag. They don't even check it that properly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you just get in, and there was, like, children, like, laughing around because there
Yeah.
was an expo for, like, kids to discover science. It was in the science campus.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, from what my friends told me is that they don't have as big events for them. They don't have parties. They don't have any of that. It's, like, more difficult for them to socialize because the classes are, like, 300 people.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And that's why I prefer largely being into, like, this American system than being into that.
Yeah, and I
Interesting.
imagine it's very different too, like coming from the French system to the American system, where the American system is very, very liberating in terms of, like, you can take electives and you can take all these courses that have nothing to do with your major.
You can also audit classes that have no link with your major.
Yeah, exactly.
For
And-
free, nothing paid.
Yeah, and you can just take whatever is interesting to you, and that helps you kind of figure out, oh, like, I initially thought maybe I wanted to do this, but now you took an elective and now maybe you want to do this instead. So it's very freeing in that aspect.
I didn't know that there was actually restrictions in the French schools. Like
French schools, you just choose, you just pick your special,
Okay.
like, specialty, and, like, you could be, let's say you want to be material engineer,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll have, like, a first year where you get to choose still, like, a bit, but they're all, like, kind of focused onto the engineering thing. Like,
Okay.
if you're gonna be an engineer, you cannot go into the literary part
Mm-hmm.
Right.
of Sorbonne, which is, like, in Tolbiac,
Mm-hmm.
and which they have, like, I think they have one of the best campuses in Paris.
Okay.
You can't access it, like, as a
You
student,
can't
but you
transfer.
can't have classes there.
Mm.
You can't audit. You can't pass exams. You'll just be right into that unless you choose before. Like, you
Mhm.
choose that you want a double major, and you'll be, like, material sciences engineer and, let's say, philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
That works out. But you have to choose everything before getting in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, with the American system, it's more like, even right now, when I left AUP, my major was undecided.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a major put down on paper at AUP.
Yeah.
So it's like they just let you do whatever until, like, your third semester, where I think you have to choose.
Like junior year, actually, I think is when you have to decide your major. I
Yeah.
think you
Mm.
can go completely during sophomore year without
Yeah.
any major
So
declared.
I
it's so
just-
different.
I just had a meeting for this morning
Oh, really?
for the junior degree check because of the French credits.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They put me into junior, like, first semester now,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
as, like, you both know that we all started together, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I just
yeah.
got junior because like I had extra credits from French school
Right.
Yeah.
and IB.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning I had the junior degree check, and still like the person wasn't really like pressuring me into choosing my major or anything. She was just like, "Oh, do this, and when you're ready, submit it."
Yeah. It's like
Like,
always
right.
up to you.
It's always chill.
Yeah, it's very chill.
Exactly.
So, I mean, in regard to being in American school, like what specific activities were you able to kind of do and experiment with?
What are you talking about? More
Like,
course side?
Courses or clubs? Like, what are things that you wouldn't even have thought of doing, perhaps, had it not been an American school?
So my initial plan was to go into the more elite side of schools, like so do like 2 years of preparation for a huge exam at the end, and like it's kind of a competition.
Right.
So I wouldn't even have like at that point I wouldn't even have time for competitive basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even have time for photography. I wouldn't have time for friends. Like it's really hard to schedule yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who's currently doing that. And like we haven't talked to him that much. We just like catch up on him like on the phone, on messages, whatever.
Have I met him? Is it Martin?
Yeah, Martin, yeah.
Yeah.
And right now he's approaching like the final line before December, and like he has a lot of exams and stuff, so we can't like we try to organize something to see him, but he couldn't really see us.
Yeah.
And he just has one day in the week where he could actually rest, and he keeps that more for himself because he needs to be mentally like
present and just rejuvenated.
Yeah, exactly. So he keeps that for his family and for himself. Just chills at home, gets some rest, and next day he goes back to prepa and does his classes.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that would have been crazy. Like if you had gone down that route, you would not have any of the time that you have now.
I would not have met you, and I would not have like
very unfortunate
like built these hobbies or like continued them. It would have been really hard for me to organize myself, really.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like one of the main things AUP people advertise is the fact that you're going to have freedom to experiment and to do other things and to actually live in Paris. I think that's like the motto. It's for an American, you're not here really fully for the academics. You're here to actually experience the city and actually live, I think, with this type of university. But I mean that's pretty relatable.
But I believe that's also the case with other American universities, like in the States themselves. Like you still have time for yourself, and most of it, I think it's it's all our responsibility to work our classes. Like we have like 4 hours, 6 hours of that same class in the same week, and then you just have to do the homeworks, you just have to do projects, you just have to study for the exam, and that's like, I would say that's almost 70% of the work. And 30% is just sitting in class listening. So it's not like compared to French schools, it's like more 70% you're in class, 20% you get time for like whatever studying, and 10% you have to rest because it's a hassle to like stay 9 hours in like a school and stay in like have classes following up each other.
Exactly. With the French system, it feels like it's a lot more constricting in terms of, because it's like local, right? American system in general too, the American system is very liberating in that sense, and the French system, since it's in France and it's always been this kind of traditional thing, they don't really care about like, you know, letting you experience France because you're living in France, you've always lived in France, so it's more just like study and do what you need and then get into the best schools like Polytechnique or Sorbonne or whatever. But but switching gears now to your current hobbies and professions, what are you doing nowadays?
So nowadays I've been I started a business in photography. It's been kind of spiking up recently. Like I've had a lot of demands from people from uni. I've had a lot of demands from clients from the freelancing apps. Right now, I'm not currently taking any because I have also my schoolwork to do, and I also have my other hobbies. I have my family, I have my friends, and I like having a good life balance where like I'm more 30% working on that business, 40% working at school, and like other 30% left being with friends, family, having a rest. And I would say the only difficulty right now or like the only issues I've had with like me having to handle 3 hobbies, which are like guitar, piano, photography.
Mm-hmm.
Only difficulty I'm having is handling the relationships, because now with schoolwork, with I'm also play basketball,
Yeah.
and
Lots
right
of
now,
stuff.
well, it's okay because I'm injured, and I'm just kind of managing the team, writing down the stats, talking with the coach, talking with the players what they should do next game, or
Mm-hmm.
screaming my lungs off at the games for them to
Yeah.
actually listen to the calls the point guard is doing.
Yeah.
Like I lost my voice like that last game, and I'm like currently like still kind of losing it,
Yeah.
which is funny.
Yeah.
Like we have calls like 5-2 or wings or horns, and like
Yeah.
sometimes the like players wouldn't hear the point guard, so I'd be like on the side and be like 5 horns, and like I would scream it to the point where they would actually do it, and like.
Yeah.
It's still something.
Looks like it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, it takes a whole lot of energy, and also the games finish late too.
Oh yeah.
So I find myself having to study
Mm-hmm.
like from like when do I get home? Like I get home at minimum actually 10. Minimum 10, and the maximum I would get home at midnight.
Right.
Damn. So you're there for a
Depending
very
on the
long time.
game, depending on the school, depending on the location.
Mm-hmm.
So I would find myself having to study these last bits of work at like from midnight to 1 a.m, because and I also have to get dinner too,
Oh yeah.
which is kind of a hassle too. But
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That sounds very productive though. You have like a lot of stuff going on in terms of like everything. You got work, you got studies, you have pastimes and hobbies that you're into, like musically, and you also have your photography side hustle going on.
yeah,
So, yeah. Sounds very, very
my
good.
like if you want the secret to this, it's super easy. It's not hard. Just figure out what your mind and what your capacity of energy is.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out also a day or 2 in the week. I personally take 1 day only, because
Mhm.
I prefer having a day than 2, and I feel like that I can recharge in a day,
Mm-hmm.
and that's enough. If you need 2, take 2.
Mm-hmm.
My like day is Friday, because Friday I don't have any classes. I just sit at home, stay with the parents, the family, have lunch with friends, or just like chill home, get a little nap in.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically because also the basketball games are Thursday nights.
Oh, yeah.
Get a little nap in,
Mhm.
and if I have like small amounts of work I could actually do, I'll do them, but like it needs to be kind of effortless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's just like it's all organization. Like I don't get how people today still think that studying 6 hours in a row is good for you.
Yeah,
It is
it's
not
ridiculous.
It
It's
is
too
not
much.
good. Study
Yeah.
regularly, like even 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes a day, that same subject.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's it. And when you have a subject you're like currently struggling with, just spend an hour 30 on it. Call a friend that knows better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the teacher. You don't have to take 6 hours to figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that. And also why I'm saying this, not a flex, but
Mhm.
I'm a good student too. Like I have
for sure.
3.7 GPA.
Nice.
Stomach's making noise. Hungry.
We're hungry. We're shooting
Yeah, we
this
should
while we're
grab
starving.
lunch after this.
But yeah, I mean, that's actually what you were talking about in like 2 episodes ago. Like
Yeah.
taking at least just a little bit of time to study. It doesn't matter how long, but just
Mhm.
at least starting it.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And I think nowadays people are always like prioritizing how long you work for instead of like actually the quality of your work.
Yeah.
So there's this like, oh, I've worked 10 hours on Tuesday,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think I'm pretty prepared for this exam. How long did
Mhm.
you study for? Oh,
Yeah.
30 minutes.
It's like,
Yes.
no, man, you're screwed.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
just
you're
30
gonna
minutes.
fail, man. This is
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel like when people see me before the exam and I'm like smiling and shit. I'm super comfortable. I'm not stressed or anything. And they're like, how the fuck is this dude still
Yeah.
standing on his 2 legs, being like, okay, this
Right.
is just a midterm.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna get fucked or anything.
Yeah.
And like multiple times, people were like, how?
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
a midterm right now. Why are you not studying? I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't want to pull a paper out before
Right.
the exam.
Yeah.
That's even gonna be more confusing to you.
Yeah, last minute studying is
Last
never
minute
good.
studying is this.
Like back in Pakistan, since we use the British system, like studies are very, very difficult. and there's such a big workload because you
Yeah.
have like 8 to 9 subjects that you're taking in one semester.
Same thing in
Yeah.
French high school.
Yeah, and it's so difficult because these subjects are at an advanced level, and so there were so many times where we'd have this thing where we just memorize instead
Yeah.
of understanding.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
the go-to for a lot of students.
I would say
Exactly.
that's like the plan C you have to take.
Yeah, it's
Like-
the worst case.
Plan A is just be regular,
Mm.
do the stuff. If something you struggle with,
Mhm.
Right.
take an hour or two on it.
Yeah.
If you're still struggling on it, I'm sure you could ask the teacher for help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you
Right.
could find resources on internet.
Yeah.
And we should all be grateful that we're living in this era where we would like have internet.
Mhm.
You could just like, you're struggling with something, go onto YouTube, you'll find the subject.
Yeah.
You're struggling
Yeah.
with something, go onto the online book.
Yeah.
Right.
Super easy.
Khan Academy
Plan B.
saved my life.
Plan B is the 6 hour studying before the day before the exam. That
Right.
Yeah.
that works, but the thing is that you'll lose in efficiency and focus for the exam itself because too much knowledge it's just gonna
Yeah.
confuse
and,
you.
And sleep is
Right.
very important too.
Sleep is super
Yeah.
People
important.
don't emphasize the importance of
It is
sleep.
very important.
Like you can study for months and months and months up to an exam and know the textbook in and out. Like
Yeah.
they can shoot questions and you can shoot an answer immediately.
Right.
But if you don't get enough sleep on the day of, you're just gonna be just completely dead inside when giving the exam.
Right.
Yeah.
The neighbor was
Yeah.
just like
the neighbor was slamming down
He's-
something
He's
onto the
expressing
ground.
his support. He's,
yeah,
he's listening
he's
to
just
us.
excited for us.
Yeah, he's like, oh,
Exactly.
the Everything Is Roses podcast.
Yeah.
I love them. I listen to them on Spotify.
Our best fan is up there.
yeah,
I didn't
that's,
even
that's
know
how it
that.
begins, man. The first fan is always closer than you think.
That's wow. That's like really deep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a very profound man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I don't even like do all nighters at all.
Mm.
I never kind of extend my work till my bedtime.
Yeah.
It's
Bedtime.
my bedtime. Yeah.
Bedtime.
Tempting.
Acting like a kid.
Yeah.
I respect that though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the fact that you said bedtime, I feel like people would humiliate you for that, but
Mhm.
it's a good thing. Having a
Yeah.
bedtime is actually good.
You need to be consistent. Like,
You're an organized person, bro.
Yeah,
I
he's
admire
very
that.
Thank you. You know, I would get bullied for my bedtime, but it's like,
What? By who?
you know, just people are like, "Oh, you have a bedtime? Wow, that's
Oh,
lame."
yeah.
You know, but
Well, you're gonna
Yeah.
be their CEO one day. They'll be working for you.
right, yeah, just
Yeah.
I sleep at the same
Have you
time.
seen at least like how much CEOs are efficient today?
Yeah,
Like I worked for I was kind of friends with the CEO too, which was funny because he kind of sensed that I had the same way of thinking of work,
Mhm.
and I was so glad because at the end of the thing, normally I was supposed to interview the guy who took care of my internship,
Mhm.
but he was like, "Oh, you have an interview? Pull up, let's do the interview. I'll give you every advice you need
Yeah,
and
perfect.
everything you need. I'll even extend it. You need 20 minutes. I'll even put through 2 hours."
Wow.
right.
And he was
Sounds like a
super
good
nice
guy.
about it, and I was really glad I had the interview because he gave me so much advice about my career, my organization, and like friendly banter too. Like we were laughing about
Mhm.
how today people just like they think that it's all in the hours. No, it's not.
Mhm.
It's not in the hours. It's how
Yeah.
efficient you are. You can,
Quality over quantity.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can work 1 hour on like, let's say you have a task. If you know how to use your focus correctly,
Mhm.
and like you cut your time, like let's say you use the Pomodoro method, which is one of my favorite ones. It's one who like actually helps my focus
Mhm.
so much. It's like 25 minutes, 5 minutes break, 25 minutes, 5 minutes break,
Yeah.
25 minutes, 5 minutes break, 25 minutes, 30 minutes break.
Mhm.
And during those 5 minutes break, do not pick up the phone. Don't take the phone. Read a book. I don't know. Watch the wall. It's even better to watch the wall than
Yeah.
just like get your mind some rest. Meditate.
Right.
Mhm.
Drink water. Go get something to, like a coffee.
Yeah.
Talk to your family if your family is living with you. Talk
Yeah.
to a friend.
Anything's better than the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like phone just distracts your focus so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So, yeah, just 25 minutes, fully focused. Nothing's
Mhm.
disturbing you. I suggest you have, like, I don't know, I play music.
Mhm.
Find something that helps you focus. Like, I don't know, if it's an environment that helps you focus, use it
Yeah.
at your advantage. If it's music,
Mhm.
use music.
Yeah.
And that's how you'll be efficient and have your focus.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just about like structuring and all that stuff.
Yeah, experimenting with what works.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
personally, like, I cannot work in my apartment.
Really?
Yeah, I cannot. I cannot work here. It's a nice place. I have
Mm.
nice lighting, but I can't.
But didn't you used to work here like
I-
majority of the time?
I would try to,
Mhm.
but I can't. Like, my focus is minimal. The
Mhm.
only time I can is if I'm in a library surrounded by people that are working. That's so it's really just about finding what works with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it took time experimenting. Like, I also do the Pomodoro technique, but Jesus, stomach is so loud right now.
I can't.
You know,
I think it's
actually,
just in your
I'm
mind.
so hungry.
I don't think it's going to.
Talking about hunger, there's like this other method
Yeah.
for focus, which is like kind of like I call it the hunter method.
Uh-oh.
Because you know, before when we still used to be, I don't know, like we wouldn't have food in our grocery stores and all that.
Mm-hmm.
We would have to hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need focus to hunt.
Right.
You can't just hunt to prey and just do bullshit and just that's it. You're lucky. Yay, you got your food.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. So I think that the mind itself is still adapted to that. We still have this flaw of like, if you're full or if you're digesting, you're not gonna be able to focus as much as when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That
So
makes
that's
sense.
the method. So you like to study when you're hungry.
Yeah.
I usually what I do is I wake up in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as possible get the hardest task of the day done.
Eating the frog.
Exactly.
Mm.
But I don't call it eat the frog no more. I call it the hunter method.
Oh,
Because like I do that
Sounds
and then I
cooler.
go cook some stuff in the kitchen and I get a feast. I get a feast,
You
really.
reward yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Like you do the work because it's an incentive to get the reward.
Right.
That's after the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, and also a lot of people get very sleepy after eating a very heavy
Exactly.
meal. So I think it depends, but for a lot of people, yeah, I mean, it does not help your productivity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been struggling with that recently too, like just keeping focus and discipline. Like we were chatting about this recently too, like just like I used to be very consistent with the gym and all these other healthy habits. And then we had our break, which kind of just like for the break I was consistent with all these things. But as soon as the break ended and I had responsibilities again, like class and whatnot, it was really, really difficult to kind of balance everything, which we talked about like 2 episodes ago, like the work-life balance and all that stuff. But it's tough when you have 5 hours of class, then you have to take the 40-minute train ride home, and then you have to be like, okay, I still need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
So let's get ready, have breakfast, take a 30-40-minute bus ride to the gym.
That's why I
All
told
that.
you go in the morning.
Yeah, well, I can't though because my class starts in the morning. It starts at
Yeah,
like.
but
It's time
still,
to wake
the
up at
gyms-
6 a.m., bud.
The gym's open at first of all, I think when you have a card, you at Fitness Park, right?
Yeah.
Fitness Park opens at it's always open. If you have a card, you could just get in.
No, it's not.
Oh, really?
The one I have, it's open at like 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Oh, perfect. So go to 6 a.m.
Yeah,
No, if I go-
get ready at 5 and go.
No. The thing is, even if I do that and I come back at like, if I go at 6 a.m., I'm in the gym. I do like an hour and a half session, and I come back at 7:30. I still have to shower and leave. So if I spend like
Excuses.
and breakfast too. No, it takes. There's not enough time to leave for class.
Listen. There's a way of planning things. Like I'm telling you, I used to do that. Well, I'm not like I don't know how long you live away from the gym, so I'm not gonna talk
30,
about
40
that.
minutes, but
Yeah, 30, 40 minutes is kind of harsh.
Yeah.
So I would suggest my plan would have been I wake up at like 5.
Mhm.
I wake up at 5. I sleep at like let's say you sleep at 9. 9:10 is excellent for you to wake up at 5. Then you just prep your food before. You prep your like breakfast the night before. Prep it, put it into like I would suggest getting some yogurt,
Yeah.
oatmeals. That's the best thing for gym, and
Mhm.
also like it wakes you up in the morning because it's a good amount of food, healthy fibers.
Lots of protein.
I know a nutritionist. I could ask her. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I could hook you up.
Hook me up.
And like just prep it before.
Mhm.
You wake up at 5, get ready, go to the gym. That's it. When you come back, you have your meal prepped. Just take your shower, get your meal, go to uni.
Yeah.
That's it. You're good.
It's all
On-
about dedication. Like
Yeah,
if you want to do it, you do it.
organization, bro. It's
Yeah.
the key to everything.
Exactly. Like if you keep coming up with excuses, then it's gonna be harder and harder. And even like in the evening, I have time. I have plenty of time. Like once I'm done with classes, there's so much time for me to go to the gym. But yeah, as you know, it gets difficult when you have a lot of workload to stay motivated and disciplined.
Right.
Like the motivation will fall
I get
off,
it.
but the discipline will stick through.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, you can start slow, like
Exactly.
like it's talking to me. My stomach is literally talking to me right now. Anyways,
Yeah.
but you can start slow in the sense
It's an extra guest today.
like you can even dedicate, let's say, just 20 minutes to doing jumping jacks. I mean, that's gonna raise your heartbeat, and it may even help you just a bit in terms of, I guess it's cardio. I don't even know, maybe. But that's already a very small step, but it also a big step in that if you're able to be consistent with that every single day, then you can slowly build it into going to the gym eventually as the end goal.
Exactly.
So I guess it's a matter of maybe finding what's manageable and convenient at the start. For me, like I can just go outside and do a quick run right here, and it's been very beneficial and it's very easy and it's convenient. And of course, not to say that you should be lazy, but I think what really helps is finding that level of convenience at the start.
Yeah, exactly. The easier you make it to start, the easier it will be to maintain.
Right.
Yeah. Also, there's like a general feeling of things when you go to the gym or like have yourself organized. Like I've felt that the last, I would even say the last few weeks I've felt it because I took 2 days of rest that time, and it was because I had like places to be for friends, and I felt kind of bad after because like that day could have been a more productive person. I could have done that, but like I would say this week where I'm like today I'm kind of moving around everywhere. I had a meeting this morning. I had to work on photos this morning too. I have to tutor at uni. I have to go grab lunch with a friend right after this. Then I have to go meet with other friends for a project.
Wow.
After that, I have to take care of another project by myself.
Wow. Busy man.
And like I know that tonight I'll be tired as fuck, but I'll be like, at least I've done it. At least I'm good for tomorrow. I'm good for after tomorrow.
Right.
And like I'm resting. I'll be just. I feel like that sense of happiness is way better than the happiness you could get from
Just lazing around.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
like no happiness in that being
Yeah.
lazy.
No, I get that.
But,
I get that.
Yeah.
There is. It depends on what you're doing. If like for me, lazing around is just like let's say. You don't plan yourself that much, and you just go hang out with friends, and you go for a party, and you stay too long at that party. That's lazing around. You should be back home when it suits you, and like still, I feel like generally, if you have good friends, they would more respect that than you staying and being like, oh, I just stayed because fuck the work I have after this.
Yeah, exactly. No, I get that. It's definitely because when you go to sleep at night after good days of work, you get such a good night's sleep. You wake up feeling rested, and you look back on the previous day, and you're like, you know what, that was a really good day. I made something of myself. I made use of the time. But in contrast, if you spend that entire day procrastinating on things you had to do, and you didn't do them, then you go to sleep feeling regret and guiltiness, even subconsciously. Like maybe you don't feel it consciously, but subconsciously it's there. It's like I had these tasks that I needed to complete, and I didn't do them. So now I wasted that day.
Yeah.
And the days also feel more distinct when you make use of them.
Yeah, it's
like
longer.
You can remember things. Yeah, it's longer, and it feels like you can remember them more.
Right.
Yeah.
Which would help you a lot, actually.
Yeah, true. I have
Because if
really
you're-
bad memory.
You have really, terrible.
I think the fact that you say that is even sinking more down your memory, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, every day I'm like, I have terrible memory, and it just like goes
I
down.
I ask him every day. I'm like, "What did you do yesterday?"
I have to
Let
take a
me-
moment.
Let me think about that for 5 minutes.
I think everybody has to take a little moment before like thinking of what he did yesterday. It's just like you just sink yourself down by saying I have a terrible memory, and then you just
Self-fulfilling.
believe
See,
that.
you're inflicting harm on me. Right.
You're a hater. You're a hater.
That's true. I'm a hater. I'm the first hater of the Everything Is Roses podcast.
And you're
You know,
the
hater-
co-host at the same time. Oh,
Yeah, you
God.
know, haters boost the productivity. You're like,
Exactly.
despite that person, you do better work.
I personally think that haters aren't a bad thing, and they're really something like a step forward.
Yeah.
But like hating on stuff like his memory.
Yeah, man. Are you listening? Are you listening?
That's true.
That's
you
just
know.
bad, but like hitting on like an actual good reason, like say something you could actually change. It's not that bad. Like bro, my bestest friends that I've known for like 8-9 years, our friendship is based on honesty.
Yeah.
Our friendship is based on that. I do something, I change my look. If they don't like it, they're not gonna be, oh, you look so good today. They're like, you look like a shit person. You look horrible.
Yeah.
And straight up, you see the honesty in their eyes, and you're like, okay, next day I'll dress better. Next day I'll do my hair better, or like I should actually change haircut.
Yeah.
They actually, honesty is something I value so much. Really,
It's essential.
it's very essential.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so rare these days because people, they kind of just wear a mask all the time because they're afraid of kind of putting out too much and or seeing the consequences of that on other people. So like just honesty is so rare to find, like, and it's so
We were
essential.
talking about that yesterday. We were talking about that the fact that, well, recently I have kind of myself put on a mask because I don't want to see people seeing through what I'm actually feeling. Like if I'm feeling bad today or unproductive, I'm just gonna be smiling and happy and like, oh, how are you doing? Whatever. I don't want that person to be like, oh, are you okay? Are you alright? Like I don't like that. So I just been putting on that mask. And what's crazy about it is that some people that I really know, like I would say my sister, for example, she would see through it. I'm like, how the fuck can she see through that? All that acting, she could see through it, and she could tell me, okay, I'll help you out.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think keeping honesty is very important with people who you're close with, and there's really no necessity to do with people that you don't know and strangers. I mean, it is very typical though, and kind of extreme in America. Everyone has a fake smile. It can be even a family member, a friend. It is that culture, the American culture, to put on a fake smile, say, "Hey, how's it going?" You know, like this fake joyfulness with you.
Yeah.
But in reality, people are going through so much stuff, and they don't actually put it out there. And so it's you kind of have to find that balance between how much you put out there and how much you're keeping in, because if you go one way over the other, then it cannot be very beneficial for you.
Yeah, and it varies from person to person. You just have to kind of figure out which person you can open up to and which person you can't. Like as you said, there are many cultures in the world, like Japanese culture, American culture, to name a few, where it's very emphasized to kind of just keep going and pretend like nothing's wrong, because that's just the norm of things and that's just how things are. But it makes it hard to kind of find connection though with people, because you always feel like there's just a blockade, like there's always just something fake.
Right.
But yeah, I mean at the same time it's very social, because even if you don't know someone, they'll walk by and they'll be like, hey, how are you?
Yeah, of course.
It's just like a normal thing to do.
Yeah. I always have this thought when I'm like talking to people or just like hanging around people, or let's say I'm just walking in the street, I recognize somebody, just hey, how you doing, whatever. I'm always wondering, are they actually that good in their life? Is something wrong? Is something okay? So I always have this thought when, like, for example, I recognize somebody in the street or whatever. I'm like, are they actually good in their life? Because you know, they're smiling at you. They're like, oh, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Or even with friends, sometimes I kind of doubt it. I'm like, are they really friends with me? Because you never know when somebody's putting on a mask and it's just because they don't want to like hurt you or anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's purely an illusion that everyone has it good and not you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I feel like it's by default that everyone feels that way, where they have all these internalized issues and they feel like they are, carrying the world by their shoulders and everyone else is fine. Like that's like the notion
everyone
has.
always feels that way, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Like I saw a lot of videos about this online too, and even like people I've met or know personally that are in their 30s, 40s, they're like, dude, you don't need to even be worrying about any of the stuff that you're worrying about in your 20s. You won't even have life remotely figured out until you're in your mid to late 30s. Like typically, so many of these people that are in that age group, they always tell you like, don't worry about it. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you don't
you
have
never
to.
We're very young.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it at that young of an age. Just do the best you can, and work through life, and eventually you'll find the answers yourself.
Well, I personally think no one actually really figures it out. Quote,
Yeah.
unquote.
It's just your own answer.
You're just guided by life, and I have accepted that because I always felt kind of lost,
Mhm.
and I've discussed that probably multiple times with you too.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also said that you had the same feeling, but then I just figured life is unpredictable. Just do the stuff you can do the stuff you like to do, and
Mm-hmm.
at some point you'll get it figured out. It's not gonna. It could be right now as much as it could be in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that you figured out something, you do that for 5 years, and you're like,
Yeah.
I actually want to change.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Like
So you actually
I
never
was
know.
watching a video the other day, I think a month or two ago, about a neurosurgeon who graduated from Harvard, and he trained and did his residency and all that, and after 5 or so years of doing that, he just realized that there was no fulfillment
Mm.
in that because, and I don't want to generalize the job of neurosurgeons, but he said in his own words that our job wasn't to alleviate the patient's suffering. It was just to kind of do the process and make the money and have that be done with. Follow the textbook.
Mm.
It's like if you have a symptom of something, I'm just going to cure it. But the pain isn't really our concern. Our job isn't to make sure you're comfortable. And that aspect of it wasn't really agreeing with him and his philosophy. So he quit. He was making $100,000 to $200,000 a year, and he just quit all of that and just kind of went towards, from his recent videos, because I saw another recent video, I think he went more towards just philosophy and becoming a philosopher. So you see a lot of these kind of people that you think would have it all figured out,
Mm-hmm.
like Harvard and neurosurgeon, 100K, 200K, everything's good, dream life right there.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
immediately just threw it out for
Right.
something else. But I feel like that would be a lot more fulfilling. Just something that makes you happy in life. That should be the end goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like wealth that determines what makes you happy. I mean, sure, you can have a job that gives you a lot of money, but that's not really going to affect you personally. There's many rich people out there that are so unhappy.
Yeah.
It's they're miserable lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is the money worth,
Yeah.
really?
There's no worth to money and all that, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think money is just something that you can use to live better,
Mm-hmm.
but not actually live better. When I'm saying
Yeah.
live better is more emotionally
Yeah.
and all that. You can be my personal philosophy of life is that I want to be able to provide and protect for
Mhm.
I don't know, my future wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I have that, for me it's figured out. Whatever I'm doing, it could be I'm working in the military as an engineer, I'm working for SpaceX, I'm working at a investment bank, or I'm I just did something in photography, for example. I made up my agency and it works out perfectly. Let's say that.
Yeah.
As soon as I have that, and I'm providing and protecting,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't really care.
Yeah. That's
I
the
would be
dream life.
happy. I would
Yeah.
be happy where I'm at.
Yeah. And there's a quote I read recently, yesterday. It was the poorest people are the ones with the most money. And that's deep. It makes you think.
It's very deep.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I think financially, I just want to get to a point where I'm stable, where I can, if there's a health problem, I can easily take care of it. If my kids want to go to college, I can easily take care of it.
Yeah.
And these kinds of things. Obligations are easily taken care of.
Right.
Yeah,
And the rest is just, you have some money left over for whatever you need or want.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you want to go on vacation, and that's important to have those times.
Yeah.
And once I've attained that, I just want to retire to a farm on the
Yeah.
Italian mountainside.
What? You're also going to Italy as
Yeah.
well? We're going to be neighbors.
Yeah,
Oh.
we'll have neighboring farms. I want to make a
Initially it was
farm.
my plan, but okay.
It's just another neighbor.
It was all three of us.
All three of us are
We
gonna join
discussed
up in
this
Italy.
before, and then I discussed it with you
Yeah.
too.
I
All three of us just want
just
Farm
want to go to
neighbors,
Italy.
let's go.
Yeah, we're just gonna be farmers. We'll have I'll see you on the other mountain, and I'll wave to you, and then Skander's
No.
gonna be on the other one.
I think more if I'm talking about really what my future objective is I personally would money wise, I'd be like, I want to be able to buy anything that I personally want, but also at the same time, my first priority would also be to provide for the kids, provide for the wife,
Of course.
provide for the house, provide for the family, and
Right.
like other priorities would be my wants. And like if I don't reach that point of being able to fulfill these priorities, I'm still good. I'm still happy. And as soon as I'm done with that, and I'm stable and I get old, and like that's it. I can't work no more, and my kids are having their own work, and now they're providing for me actually. I would just get in a farm, like you said. Maybe I'll probably return to Tunisia. I'll probably be back. I was thinking about Italy because I love Italy. I've been to it multiple times. I've seen the countryside. It's amazing.
Whereabouts did you go? I've been meaning to ask you this for a while.
It's like I went. It was on my own too. Like it was my first time traveling on my own. I went to like what is it called?
Sicily?
No, it's just next to Torino, but it's just like the mountainside of Torino, and it's like it was San Sebastian something.
Okay.
Whatever, but it's like a really long city name. It was on the mountain. I think I showed you photos too.
Yeah, you did. That's why I was curious, because it looked very nice from what you showed me.
And like it felt good. I had my own place. I had my own thing. Like they even let me borrow a guitar. I would try to stay away from the phone and hang out with the people who were also there, trying to meet people. I remember like one of the best things is that the hotel organized a little talent show, and I was able to play my guitar, and I was really happy because like it helped me out, because it was like at least 200, 300 people, and that's the most people I've ever seen at like a concert I've ever had. Like I used to do piano concerts, but it would be just the parents, just some guests, the other people who play piano with me. And that first time was like, it was so fulfilling. That little like break in Italy. It like it's still, I still remember, and like you guys don't have visuals, but I'm smiling a lot right now. I'm really like thinking about it again. It's really
very important to have those moments where it's like just build self-confidence, you know. Those moments are very special. And we're planning a trip to go to Tuscany next year.
Tuscany.
Spring
For like maybe 2-3 days over the spring break. Yeah, because the beauty of Europe is that it's so cheap to travel to places, especially the transport. Like if you book maybe a month or two in advance, you can get the flights for so cheap. So that's gonna be in the works.
Make use of where we are. We have, I mean, it would be so expensive if just traveling from the US to Italy.
I
mean, it's crazy.
Retirement plan, getting multiple properties in Italy, France, on the countryside, the beach, or maybe Tunisia, and just like having these places to take a break in, have a little farm for the year. That would be good. Also, my grandparents are farmers, so maybe I'll retake theirs. I don't know.
I think farming is great. It's like it connects you with the earth, you know. It like brings you back to your roots. Literally.
I have
that's a good pun.
Thank you.
I have like a whole family of I had, because now they passed. There's only one left. I had a whole family of like German shepherds. It was so good. We just play around.
Like farm dogs?
Yeah, farm dogs, exactly. We had like we still have them. We have chickens. We have cats. We have
I love cats.
Piece of land not far from the farm where we usually plant like oranges. We have like what are they called? Donkeys, horses there, because we can't have them in the personal farm because it's not that big, and also like my grandparents live there, so it's a hassle if they have to take care of the animals every single day. My uncles take care of them now. I would love reproducing that as like a grandfather myself.
It sounds like a very fulfilling existence, just to wake up, take care of animals, take care of the land. And just live off of it too. Like you're not like relying on anything else. You're making your own food, growing it, taking care of it. And it's a very nice connection.
And I think it's kind of perfect living kind of a more rural life as you're older, and being able to like raise children in a rural kind of setting. I think is very important. Yes, you know, you go into these cities, these big cities as a young adult and whatever, but I mean, I think it's really beneficial growing up.
personally appreciate both. Like I feel like you're kind of saying big cities in a bad way.
Well, I mean, as a young adult though, it's crucial.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
is crucial because you need to get
Yeah.
It's a
the
balance.
job. You need to get
Yeah.
the like you need to be around more people and like create your own network there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whereas like if you live on the countryside, it's more complicated.
Right. But as a child, I mean,
Yeah.
I think living in the countryside it's great. It's really kind of healthy for you.
Yeah, if I have
Um,
grandchildren or if I still have
yeah.
children and we have a farm, like I said, multiple properties and like the countryside, let's say like Italy, more in the mountains, and let's say for example France, I would try to get something close to the beach,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
more the Atlantic side.
Yeah.
Like if you have that, just like the kids and the whole family that's gonna come after them,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna be able to enjoy all that work that you've done and they'll admire you. And I'm not talking about like, I don't care about the admiration, to be honest. They could even forget my name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
Mhm.
I just want them to be like in this good environment. Like I am very grateful that I'm in this university and that I have been living in Paris for like what 9 years, 10 years now,
Mm-hmm.
because my father decided to take the decision of working here
Yeah.
and making this big move of yeah, let's all move out, let's get out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And till today he's still working. Like I admire my dad so much about this. Like he is still working and he
Mhm.
still finds the time to come see me
Mm-hmm.
and be like, oh, how are you doing, let's get lunch, let's like
Yeah,
he still
that's
finds the
important.
time to get home early.
Yeah.
Like he does, sometimes he goes super early to work
Mm-hmm.
and he comes back at like before dinner time so he could get dinner with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's super nice. It's super
Right.
nice.
It's important, yeah, for sure. And like even
I would-
me, like I plan to, like at an old enough age, I plan to move back to Pakistan, because I think once you get to an old enough age, you kind of return back to your roots, like where
Mm.
you came from.
Mm.
I think it's just a natural, and I think a lot of
Yeah,
people do.
a lot of people want
Yeah,
to do
like
that.
for you, I'm sure you have, like you've even told me, like you plan to go back to the States after you're finished with AUP here.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back to New York.
Yeah, and probably settle down there. And it's also a good environment because New York City is right there.
Yeah.
And you have your rural kind of existence. while
Yeah.
also balancing.
Wait, you never told us what are you gonna do after actual Sorba and then AUP? Where are you moving back to?
Well, my plan is to finish my French classes here at Sorbonne and get to a good enough level. Like I'm gonna finish my A2 level,
Mm-hmm.
and then I might extend it to B1.
Okay.
I think B1's a good idea.
Yeah, B1, because that would allow me to work in a lot of
Mhm.
spaces comfortably. But I might also not extend and just come back to UP, finish my bachelor's, and then I plan to stay here for at least like 2 to 3 years.
Right.
That's the plan for now, at least. All right, so we had some technical issues at the end, but with that, since this has been a very long episode, but it's been very nice, a very deep discussion with Skander, and
Thank you for
Bob
having me.
here. Yeah,
Of
it was a really nice time, and yeah, I hope it's been interesting for all of you guys at home
Mm-hmm.
and thought provoking, and I hope some of this stuff will be useful
Yes.
to you.
It's very enlightening.
Yeah, very enlightening.
I hope that you'll make use of the advice I've given and make
Mhm.
your own research,
For sure.
find out what you need,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe attain that self-dev.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely keep those in mind. Well, with that, this has been a great episode. Thank you once again, Skander, for joining
I'm thanking
us.
you guys.
You're welcome, man. Anytime.
Welcome.
So, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to follow us on Spotify. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to follow us there. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment with any of your feedback, any constructive criticism you may have, and share this with your friends. And that's it. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.